Can you really buy a flagship phone for 1,999 yuan? Is this recently released Redmi Turbo 4 Pro really that appealing? How is its everyday user experience, smoothness, performance, battery life, etc.? Does the touch really affect usage? And how about the current exclusive AI gaming features? Welcome back to Cosmic Graph. In this episode, we will discuss the pros and cons of the Redmi Turbo 4 Pro and whether it is worth it. Buy it! Now this time the appearance and texture are quite good, using a metal middle frame with pure glass on the front and back. Because there is no plastic support in the middle, the overall texture is excellent. The appearance of this white version is also very high, and the frosted glass doesn't attract fingerprints. The camera module is very simple and not particularly protruding, with 2 rings of light strips hidden inside that can also serve as notifications when messages arrive, which is quite practical. The infrared remote control is also integrated into the camera module, but there is still a small microphone hole on the top, so it's not entirely hole-free on the top. A bit of a pity, but I still quite like this design, as the craftsmanship this time is also good, with relatively even gaps on the back cover. However, it's a pity that the volume button still has a traditional looseness, and also, it can be considered as officially certified, but the issue is relatively minor. However, at this size, it is still quite large. The transition at the dual frames is rounded, slightly improving the hand feel, yet handling with one hand is still a bit challenging. The whole device weighs 223 grams, making it a hefty half-pound device. By the way, the phone case it comes with this time is still the skin-like material Mosa case, and the texture is also very good. If you want a lightweight and compact phone, then this Turbo 4 Pro is definitely not for you. However, bigger has its advantages. Initially, lighting up the screen is quite impressive, not at all like a machine at this price point. Especially with this large rounded corner and narrow bezels, the visual effect is very good. Although it doesn't achieve perfectly equal bezels on all 4 sides, this chin can't be considered big. It's similar to the 3000 tier OnePlus S5 Pro, which is quite good. However, the fingerprint sensor is still placed very low, and with the large screen, unlocking is not. The display's performance is indeed impressive, utilizing the same TCL CSOT M9 material as the Xiaomi 15, with the same 1.5K resolution. This time, the size is 6.83 inches, clear display, very white background, and accurate, comfortable colors. It offers all the expected features like eye protection mode, hardware low blue light, DC plus high frequency PWM dimming, and so on. The brightness is also very adequate. Unfortunately, the sunlight mode and automatic brightness cannot be turned on at the same time. In short, this screen is definitely of excellent quality. No need to worry. However, I saw feedback from online users mentioning touch issues with this screen, but based on my actual experience, whether comparing or cross-referencing during gaming, I didn't notice any not. So I think everyone can rest assured that its touch control will definitely not affect normal use. Besides the flagship level screen, it also debuts a flagship level processor, the Snapdragon 8 S Plus 4, which scores 2,100,000 on Antutu, significantly stronger than the 8 Plus 3 I have, but still far from the 8 Elite. However, having such performance for a mid-range phone is already quite good. How is the daily experience? Is it smooth or not? The optimization is quite good this time, with adaptation for advanced materials, and whether it's interrupting animations or continuously opening applications. And the various animations are quite smooth. However, when running a large number of software in heavy load or when the phone heats up, the recurring issue of frame drops may occur, just unexpectedly dropping a frame. Currently, this issue is the most troublesome, and apart from that, there aren't any major problems. I'm already quite satisfied with its performance. Its daily usage experience is definitely smooth and usable, even smoother than my current most expensive Xiaomi phone, the Mix Fold 4. After using it for a week, I haven't encountered any bugs. The animations are currently the richest on Android, and the animation curves are also quite comfortable. The system UI design is also very refined, and coupled with Xiaomi's consistently rich functionality, it hasn't been cut back just because it's mid-range. Especially notable is the debut of the AI gaming feature this time, which is quite practical. Later, when we talk about gaming performance, I'll introduce that for everyone, so I think the system is definitely not a reason to stop you from purchasing it. The performance within apps is naturally not an issue, like browsing Bilibili, watching 4K videos, short videos, or pictures. Browsing shopping apps and using map navigation, there is no pressure at all. Even switching back and forth is no problem, and everything stays in the background at a room temperature of 25 degrees. The phone is only warm, it's just that the default high refresh strategy is too conservative, like the view. All map navigation apps are locked at 60 frames. I strongly suggest everyone customize it to 120 frames and select all high refresh rate applications. This makes it much smoother. Additionally, when playing videos without finger operation, it will automatically reduce to 60 frames, so there's no need to worry too much about battery consumption. Speaker effect is also good. It also uses a linear motor, and the system adapts to vibration quite well. There is vibration feedback in many scenarios. Unfortunately, the vibration strength is too weak, too faint for such a large device. Other configurations have not been compromised, such as the IP68 dust and water resistance. Full feature NFC, infrared remote control, 3-band Beidou communication without internet. All features typically found only in flagships are included. No filler cameras were included this time in the imaging setup, just a 50 megapixel main camera and an 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera. Except for the tendency to increase brightness and sharpness, the night scene is somewhat average, but it is definitely sufficient for regular users to capture everyday life. It also supports up to 4K at 60 frames per second video recording, and the new minimalist camera interface comes pre-installed. This time, the zoom wheel feature is also provided. It must be highly praised for featuring a 7550 mAh battery this time, also the largest in Xiaomi's history, along with decent, great processing performance, and its battery life is impressive. Even with heavy use for a whole day, there is no battery anxiety at all. Although it has a large battery, the charging speed hasn't kept up, only supporting up to 90 watts. At a room temperature of 25 degrees, starting from 20% charge and activating the rapid charging mode, it can reach around 70 watts in the first 3 minutes, then gradually decreases. It takes about 40 minutes to fully charge, which is still relatively long, and it does not support wireless charging. The recharging experience is just passable. Overall, its daily use experience is still very good. Next, let's talk about gaming performance. After all, it's touted as a little 8 elite. When playing games, it should. Let's start with something simple like Honor of Kings. When playing Honor of Kings with high definition quality settings maxed out, it runs quite smoothly. However, strangely, the frame rate hovers around 115 frames per second, but the game's built-in display shows only 120 frames per second. Very low. Strangely, another version was pushed later. One of the updates was optimizing power consumption and frame rate performance for certain games. I tested again, and it was still the same. However, this didn't really affect the actual gaming experience, so it might still be an issue with the testing software. We should focus on the in-game performance. This time, a new AI feature was introduced for Honor of Kings, which can provide suggestions during BP, and in-game it can also be Jin. The real-world testing shows it's quite practical. It offers options for either on-screen notifications or voice announcements, and it provides more detailed guidance than Lingbao's prompts. At present, neither of the two beta versions of the large foldable that I have includes this feature. I hope it can be rolled out to other models soon. Next, let's talk about the performance of Peace Elite. Unfortunately, Peace Elite can only enable the 90 frames per second mode at the lowest graphics setting, and it doesn't even have a 120 frames per second mode. It is unfortunate, but fortunately, there are no major issues when playing. The average frame rate is 89.7, and it can be maximized almost the entire time. The temperature while playing is not high, but until May 1st when I wrote this draft, it still does not support 120 frames. If professional players want to buy it, they might want to keep this in mind. Next is the more demanding Delta action. Operation Delta can enable the 120 frame mode in high definition mode. Playing Beacon Zero Dam, it runs pretty smoothly at the beginning. Unfortunately, as the temperature rises, the frame rate fluctuations become more significant later on. However, the average is around 109 frames. Not silky smooth, but not lagging either. After optimizing further, it becomes smooth, averaging around 115 frames, and it's quite not bad. Next, let's increase the intensity and see how Genshin Impact performs. Under high preset graphics of virtual running, the average graph can reach 56.9 frames, with some minor fluctuations while running, generally average performance. However, the game toolbox offers a frame interpolation option, and once enabled, the frame rate can soar to 120 frames, making the gameplay very smooth, without obvious visual flaws and lag. The feel is quite practical. Besides this, it has also provided AI tools for Genshin Impact this time. Apart from this small window AI Q&A, it also offers AI automatic strategy, large map positioning, as well as automatic pickup and automatic running. This automatic running feature frees up your hands and is very practical. You can also set it to control direction using the gyroscope, but the delay is quite significant, so it's better to control the direction manually. Finally, let's take a look at the performance of Collapse Iron. With medium quality settings, the average is only about 52 frames, and the fluctuations are very large. The smoothness performance is quite ordinary, and enabling frame interpolation has no effect. Instead, touch latency becomes extremely large. The AI tools only provide automatic running, which clearly hasn't been well adapted. Its game performance can only be described as relatively, in general, it's okay for light games, but its performance is pretty average for high intensity games. And under high pressure games, the phone gets quite hot. It's recommended to use a cooler for a much better experience. Let's wrap things up. I think this phone is quite impressive and worth getting. It not only has a premium appearance and a great large screen with acceptable performance and outstanding battery life, but also excellent peripheral configurations. It is suitable as a main or backup phone, especially as a gift for the elderly. But if you're a heavy gamer or pursue lightweight portability, then it is not worth buying. Alright, we will wrap up our video here for this episode. If you think this sharing was pretty good, don't forget to click the free follow and give a thumbs up. Support our channel. I will continue to share more interesting and fun digital products and practical little tutorials on this channel. Subscribe so you won't miss this content. See you in the next episode. Bye bye. 谢谢收看。